Okay, YouTube, this is Acid Roots. I've got a Stone Sour review. Now, this group has Corey Taylor, the vocalist from Slipknot, and this is the project that he does in between the Slipknot releases. So in the pattern of what happened, Slipknot's Iowa came out in 2001, but Stone Sour's first album came out in 2002. Slipknot's third album came out in 2004, but the next Slipknot album did not come out until 2008. Now, really, this is a long time to take off for certain folks, and unless you just have like a huge smash, a lot of people tend to forget. So the reason why was because Stone Sour's second album came out in 2006. So really, Corey Taylor had dropped vocals on an album every even-numbered year of the 2000s decade, pretty much. So that took care of that, and this album was a pretty big success, and that may have been the other reason as to why Slipknot didn't come out until summer of 2008 after that. But this record lasted into 2007, had 5 singles from it. Now, the surprising thing about that is the fact that it did not go platinum, multi-platinum, or anything like that. It only went gold. And there are large songs on this project, such as Made of Scars, no, that's not the song, Silly World, Through Glass is the largest song on here. And that one, I've looked up some information. A lot of folks have listened to that. It's pretty distinct once you get to the chorus. I think the other song that charted really high was also the song Silly World. Both of these are similar to, I think, the song, it's either Bother or Inhale, the one that was on the Spider-Man soundtrack. So really that, having 2 songs just like that pretty much secured them having radio appeal. The song Made of Scars is kind of similar to Get Inside. And then 30-30-150 is another, that was kind of maybe a promo single, but that was another rock-based one. So, and then the only other one was, I don't know how to say that one, but maybe Zizek's Road. Has Z's, Y's, and X's in the song, so it's a real tricky, slippery word to say, but that was the 5th single. So they were getting airplay off this album into 2007, and it came out in summer of 2006, and a year and a couple months later it was still getting spins. So that's really the thing there. That takes care of the promotion. I am going to talk about these songs a little bit more in depth. And so yeah, Through Glass, it seems like each album that Stone Sour does manages to get one bankable song that is pretty much you can't get away from. And they did it in 2002, they did it in 2006. So really, you get that song, it's not heavy, and main thing about that, it felt kind of blurry to me. I mean, that's kind of the way I looked at it, but obviously if you're looking for more meaning to the song, it does probably have it. And so that, they kind of balance, even though this album is more rock based than more pop oriented or pop rock. So that's a plus. Definitely I don't mind, albums having those songs that try to hit big, as long as they don't, sacrifice, as long as they don't sacrifice comfortability. That's really the whole thing. Like, I think with Bother, that kind of didn't work as well for me because it just felt kind of bubblegum-esque. And, really you have to look at the situations as to where you'd listen to the song. You're around women, sure, but even then it feels really kind of a little bit marshmallowy. That's kind of The only thing about it is you look at that sort of thing. I just can't think of that many circumstances. Most men, I think, would probably agree. And but it's not as bad with Through Glass this time. They do it again with Silly World, which I think was the second highest charting song on this album. And that, that's basically 2 for 2 for them because it hit number 2 on the rock charts. That's yet another one that I felt like was a blurry song. I didn't have a problem with this. I am probably going to listen to this album more in depth in the future. And I'll probably, it's just like Chocolate Starfish, the Limp Bizkit album for me. It'll probably get integrated pretty fast. Even for me, the Chocolate Starfish album, songs like My Way and Take a Look Around, the Mission Impossible single, even though they were not heavy songs, I still wound up appreciating them. And it's kind of the same thing that goes on is I know that not every song can be, mortifying. Yeah, they're just good moments both ways. So I think it's refreshing. I'm starting to be able to notice that it's refreshing. And, that's 2 songs, but there's really only probably like 3 or 4 songs out of 12 that kind of slow things down. Made of Scars, that one is a good one to get started with. Depending upon how your night goes, it may not be at the peak of things, but it might be kind of getting started. And that about wraps up the singles. 3030 is another vicious one. That one I really like. It's the first song you're going to hear on the album, so they started off extremely well. Come Whatever May is the second song, and then that just continues. It's not as good as Hell and Consequences, but I think mainly the first 5 or 6 songs are terrific. So I'm going to talk about the songs you need to hear. So there were 12 songs on here. I wound up liking 9. So the one song was a almost song. Here are the 8 songs plus the other. 30, 30, 150, Come Whatever May, Hell and Consequences, Silly World, Made of Scars, Reborn, Through Glass, First Person, and Socio was the almost song. So the songs that I recommend heading to immediately are 30, 30, 150, Hell and Consequences, and First Person. Those are some of the best ones, besides the singles at least. And First Person, some of these will really get you excited. Yeah, these songs are definite hot tickets, I'm sure. First Person and Hell and Consequences, they're terrific. They're definitely ones that I look forward to hearing a lot of the time. So I'm going to give this album a 10, and the social score I will give a 9, or I'll give it a 10 just because it did have 5 singles. You don't find that much. And, my only other complaints, which is not many, I guess I can't even complain about it. The whole thing is the fact that all these songs managed to chart. They did extremely well. You don't have to worry about songs if you're complaining, well, the songs on the radio are not necessarily the vibes I'm wanting. Well, it has plenty of things for both. It has, great attempts at pop rock. It has great attempts at metal. And it even has just standard rock on there, just depending upon your mood. So almost any angle you can look at it from a rock aspect, it takes care of. And the thing is just to listen to the record. Some of the ones I recommended will definitely do the trick, but I know that the tastes are different. So even though I gave this record a 10, there may be people who give it an 11 or higher, whatever you want to say, just because how easily it connects. So, but it is a winner, so that's definitely the thing. I think it's better than Stone Sour's first album, but just mainly because of the more commercial appeal. So this actually did better than some Slipknot albums. So that's another thing. But the future is Stone Sour dropped a double album basically back in early 2013, late 2012. Slipknot dropped an album in 2014. And I just looked up on the internet. Corey Taylor said Slipknot's going to be working on music for Slipknot throughout 2017. So that means it's probably going to be a while before we get another Stone Sour. And so that, you know, right now the focus is on Slipknot, but it'll come, just depending upon what happens. So can this record be topped? Not really.